back with more Being Optimized by LizzeXX. We're on chapter 12, which is the final chapter for the Tooth and Claw episode. So let's just get right into this. And if you want to follow along, which I highly recommend, links for both fanfiction.net and archive are in the description below for you to pick and choose which one. Doesn't really matter. Or it's just that sometimes archive has like pictures for each episode. Tooth and Claw had it in the last chapter, so yeah. However, if it doesn't work, because YouTube's apparently being weird with links, um, again, it's archive and fanfiction.net. You should be able to put the author's name in and find it. It's Meeting of the Minds, and we are on chapter 12. So yeah, let's just get right into this with chapter 12, Tooth and Claw, Fighting the Moon. Do you think this is funny? The Queen snapped at Rose, glaring at her, completely overwhelmed with the entire situation. She'd been forced into a trap, her life was in danger, she shot a man, and her captain had just been brutally murdered by a gigantic wolf, and here this girl was laughing about it. No, ma'am. I'm sorry, Rose answered, slightly shamed. She just couldn't help it. Adventures with the Doctor and Angel were just exhilarating. True, she was scared out of her mind for parts of it, but after the fear faded, there was always this rush of excitement at the knowledge that she had survived. She found herself just so thankful that she made it that she couldn't help but be happy, laugh, giggle, hug someone. And recently, the scared parts had been diminishing, and the excitement started happening earlier. She knew why, though. Angel. Ever since the girl had joined them, since just before the Doctor had regenerated, really, she always felt safer with Angel around. The Doctor had mentioned repeatedly, joked about it quite a bit, that Angel was psychic. If that was true, she trusted the girl to see what was coming, the dangers ahead, and steer them clear of it, or, at the very least, know how to get them out of it. And if not, she wouldn't fault the girl for it. She could tell Angel got frustrated with how odd her abilities seemed to be at times, and in those cases, she trusted the Doctor just as much to have some sort of plan to save them. The adventures were really becoming adventures now, at least in her mind. Yes, she knew there would always be dangers out there. Yes, she knew that she could be harmed at any moment. Yes, she knew any trip could be her last. But she was starting to think Angel was rubbing off on her, because she just knew that nothing too terrible would happen to her with her Time Lords around. Even here, even now, when she'd been captured and taken prisoner, they rescued her. Angel had led them right to her, and the Doctor had gotten her out. She could just feel it. She'd be with them forever. What exactly? The creature asked. I pray someone please, what exactly is that creature? His name is Fred, Angel answered. Short for Frederick. The Queen just gave her the most unamused look, clearly thinking she was jesting. You'd call it a werewolf? The Doctor scratched his ear. But technically it's more of a lupine wavelength hermovariform. And should I trust either of you, sir? The Queen narrowed her eyes at him. Your wife, who makes friends with beasts, who gives them names? Or you, who change your voice so easily? What happened to your accent? The Doctor stood there, realizing he'd completely forgotten the Scottish accent. Oh, right. Sorry. I'll not have it. No, sir. Not you. Not your wife. Not that thing. None of it. This is not my world. Isabel stood, looking at the monks outside, squinting as she made out a garland of mistletoe around their necks. Mistletoe? They're all garlanded mistletoe, and the wolf doesn't attack them. Who brought this into the kitchen? It must have been the brethren, Flora replied, looking at the mistletoe still lying on the table and scattered around the room. Gather it up, quickly, every last scrap. The maids began to clamour to gather the green plant up. Quick, now! The Doctor touched the woodwork of the library. The walls are strong, he murmured, recalling Angel's words as he eyed carving of a mistletoe plant on the door. Mistletoe. So, Robert, did your father put that there? I don't know. I suppose. He murmured. Or the other door too, the doctor thought out loud. Carving wouldn't be enough. I wonder. He turned and quickly licked the woodwork, making Rose and Angel grimace. This was an album. The oil of the mistletoe. It's been worked into the wood like a varnish. He paused, turning to face Angel with a grin. That means we're standing on a mistletoe, he told her, pulling her into his arms. He gave her a quick peck on the lips before kissing her once more, deeper. He just could never get enough of kissing her. One was never enough for him. He beamed as she gave him a third peck. It seemed the same was true for her, before spinning around to face Robert. How clever was your dad? I love him. Powerful stuff, mistletoe. Bursting with lectins and visitotonic toxins. And the wolf's allergic to it, Rose asked, grinning at Angel as she tried to keep a blush off her face. Those two really were so sweet together, it just made her feel giddy to watch them. How in the world she ever thought she and the doctor could be could be made made her feel a bit ridiculous now. She could see it. There really wasn't anyone else for the doctor but Angel. And they both had deserved each other so much if they made each other that happy. Well, it thinks it is. The monks need a way of controlling the wolf. Maybe they trained it to react against certain things. Nevertheless, that creature won't give up, Doctor, and we still don't possess an actual weapon, Robert replied. Oh, your father got all the brains, didn't he? Being rude again, Angel muttered to him. Good, I meant that one. He strode over to the bookshelves. You want weapons? We're in a library. Books. Best weapons in the world. He put his glasses on. This room's the greatest arsenal we could have. He pulled a book on the shelf and chucked it to Rose. Arm yourself. The maid and Isabel quickly worked in the kitchen, chopping up the mistletoe. No sound of the wolf, my lady, Flora commented. Perhaps it's gone? Perhaps it's toying with us, she countered. But my husband's up there. If there's any chance he's still alive, then by God, I'll assist him. Flora threw the mistletoe into the boiling water. Rose, the doctor, and Robert were frantically leafing through the books, talking over one another, trying to find something to help as Angel stood on a table that had been pushed up against the shelves behind the doctor, just looking at the binding of the books before her, running her hand along them gently. Biology, zoology, there must be something on wolves in here, Rose muttered. Hold on, what about this? The doctor tossed a book to Rose. Some form of explosive? Robert remarked, moving through his own book. That's the sort of thing. Rose paused in her administrations, her hand lingering on the spine of a particular book, a religious text from what she could make of the faded title. She quickly ran her finger along the chipped gold lettering before she blinked. Doctor, she called quietly. He turned around to see her pull out the book and hand it to him. He opened it and flicked through it quickly. Oh! And a grin spread across his face. He jumped down from where he'd been sitting on the edge of the same table, holding the book and turning to place it on the table. Look what your old dad found. The doctor looked at Robert. Something fell to earth. He pointed to the open page where there was an illustration of a rock falling to earth, as Rose and Robert looked on. A spaceship? Rose asked. A shooting star, Robert corrected, reading. In the year of our Lord, 1540, under the reign of King James V, an almighty fire did burn in the pit, left the clan of St. Catherine just by the monastery. But that's over 300 years ago. What's it been waiting for? Maybe just a single cell survived, the doctor suggested, adapting slowly down the generations. It survived through the humans, host after host after host. But why does it want the throne? Robert frowned. To wear the crown that sits upon it, Angel answered, kneeling down on the table, turning the book to face her as she frowned at the illustration. That's what it wants, Rose agreed. It said so, the Empire of the Wolf. Imagine it, the doctor thought in foreboding. The Victorian age accelerated. Starships and missiles fueled by coal and driven by steam, leaving history devastated in its wake. So, Robert, the Queen stood suddenly as Robert went to her, unable to bear them talking about the end of her reign, what might happen to her beloved country if the wolf were to attack her. If I have to die here, don't say that, Your Majesty, he got in. I would destroy myself rather than let that creature affect me. She nearly spat, before taking a breath, remaining as strong as her years on the throne had made her. But that's no matter. I ask only that you find some place of safekeeping for something far older and more precious than myself. Hardly the time to worry about your valuables, the doctor commented as she opened her bag. Thank you for your opinion, she remarked sarcastically, but there is nothing more valuable than this. She pulled out the Koh-i-Noor and held it in her hand. Is that the Koh-i-Noor? Rose eyes widened. Oh, yes, the greatest diamond in the world. The doctor nodded as he helped Angel down from the table. The three of them stepped closer for a better look. Given to me as the spoils of war, the Queen recalled. Perhaps its legend is now going true. It is said that whoever owns it must surely die. Well, that's true of anything if you own it long enough. Can I? He held out a hand for the diamond. The Queen handed it over gingerly. He put his glasses down his nose to look at it closely. That's so beautiful, he muttered, before sending a soft smile at Angel. Like you. Stop it. She nudged him gently, her blush returning as he grinned wildly at the reaction. He loved seeing that blush. What's more, he loved knowing he was the one to make her blush so beautifully. He took it as an enormous compliment that she only blushed upon his advances. He remembered Jack, how the man had flirted blatantly with Angel right in front of him. True, Angel hadn't been his mate then. She had been his. Even then he felt the possessiveness, the jealousy, the anger, rising in him at the thought of another man taking her away from him, or trying to. He never wanted to punch a man more for looking at someone than he did Jack during those first few minutes of meeting him. Thankfully, the relationship Jack had tried to forge with Angel, the one he himself began to form with Jack, had changed dramatically once both men realized how uncomfortable she was with Jack's flirting. He was more at ease around Jack, somewhere in the back of his mind, recognizing the fact that Angel wouldn't ever be Jack, that the man wasn't a threat. And Jack had toned down the flirting, becoming become more playful in an older brother sort of way with the girl. Something he was grateful for. Not only did it mean Jack backed off, but it also meant someone else was as keen to protect Angel should anything happen as he was. He sighed eternally at that though. Even then he harbored feelings for Angel on some level. If only he'd been able to recognize them and act on them. The new regeneration had thrown her, his sudden ability to show his deeper emotions shocking her a bit. Looking back on it now, it was so obvious to him how he felt about the Time Lady, how much he cared for, how much he loved her. All he could do, he supposed, was make sure she was always aware of it, now and in the future. How much is that worth? Rose wondered, staring at the diamond as it glittered in the moonlight. They say the wages of the entire planet for a whole week, the doctor replied. Good job Mama's not here. She'd be fighting a wolf off with her bare hands to that thing. And she'd win, Angel remarked, getting a laugh from Rose. Where is the wolf? Robert asked, walking around. I don't trust his silence. Why do you travel with it? Angel looked over at the Queen. My annual pilgrimage, she replied. I'm taking it to Helen Carreau, the royal jewellers at Hazelhead. So needs recutting. Oh, but it's perfect, Rose frowned. My late husband never thought so. Now there's a fact. The doctor pulled off his glasses. Prince Albert kept on having the Koh-i-Noor cut down. It used to be 40% bigger than this. It was never happy. Kept on cutting and cutting. He gently handed the stone to Angel to see if she might feel something off it. He always said the Queen swallowed hard at the mention in memory of her husband. The shine was not quite right, but he died with it still unfinished. Angel finished for her. The doctor's eyes widened. Unfinished. Oh yes. He took the jewel and tossed it back to the Queen as he spoke very fast, thinking it through. There's a lot of unfinished business in this house. His father's research, your husband, Mum. He came here and he sought the perfect diamond. Hold on. He rubbed his hair violently, trying to work it out. All these separate things. They're not separate at all. They're connected. Oh, my head, my head. What if this house is a trap for you? Is that right, Mum? Obviously, she agreed. At least that's what the wolf pretended. But what if there's a trap inside the trap? Explain yourself, Doctor. What if his father and your husband weren't just telling each other stories? They dared to imagine all this was true, and they planned against it, laying the real trap not for you, but for the wolf. That wolf, Angel's voice cut in. They turned to see her staring up as a bit of plaster dust fell upon them from above. They followed her gaze to see the werewolf standing on the glass dome of the library. Hello, Fred. The glass started to crack, and they ran for the door. Out! The doctor shouted. Out! Out! He and Robert began to destroy their barricade, running out into the corridor just as the wolf fell through the glass dome, landing square on its feet before bolting after them. Your Majesty! Robert shouted as the doctor quickly shut the door behind them, and they ran as fast as they could down the corridor. Gotta get to the observatory, the doctor yelled. They careened around the corner, the wolf closed behind. Rose turned around and stared at it in horror, screaming as it pounced at her, when she was suddenly pulled away by Angel as Isabel appeared, throwing a pan of boiling mistletoe water at the wolf. Rose screamed again, but the wolf just bounded back and ran away, hurt. The doctor ran over, pulling Angel into his arms as he held her tight, before letting out a breath of relief and turning to Isabel. Good shot! It was mistletoe, Isabel explained. He ran down the hallway to check off the wolf as Robert ran to Isabel. Isabel, he shouted, kissing her. Get back downstairs. Keep yourself safe. He nodded, kissing her once more. You go. Isabel looked over at Angel as the girl nodded, renewing her promise to the woman as she and the maids rushed past Robert, running back towards the kitchen. Girls, come with me. Down the back stairs. Back to the kitchen. Quickly. As they ran off, Angel glanced back at Robert to see him looking at his wife, as though he might not see her again. Come on, the doctor yelled, running past them again. The observatory's this way, Robert called, leading them up the central staircase. The wolf, now recovered, giving chase once more. They finally arrived at the observatory, the doctor in the lead. No mistletoe on these doors. Your father wants the wolf to get inside. Get inside, I just need time. Is there any way of barricading this? Just do your work and I'll defend it. If we could bind them shut with rope or something. Said I'd find you time, sir, Robert replied seriously as Rose and the Queen stared at him, aghast, realizing what he was offering. No, what he was intending to do. Now get inside. The doctor looked at him a moment. Good man. Robert closed the door as the doctor turned to the Queen. Your Majesty, the diamond. For what purpose? She asked, gripping the diamond tightly in her hand. What is being cut for? Angel answered her, but her gaze remained on the doors. The Queen stared at her a moment. That girl, there was something off about her. She spoke so strangely, seemed to have a sense about her of things to come, seemed to understand the wolf even, naming it. It unsettled her. No one should possess that power. No one but God himself. But now was not the time. If this could save her, if this could stop the wolf, she handed it over to the doctor. He ran over to the telescope. Rose, Angel. Rose ran over to help over to the doctor. Lift it. Come on. Rose started to help him, both struggling to turn the wheel. Angel! I can't, she replied, not moving from her spot, still staring at the doors Robert had closed behind him. He looked at her oddly a moment, and she seemed to sense that, glancing over at him. I promised his life. He nodded, getting back to the telescope, now more determined than ever to get it working. The wolf was just outside the doors, and Angel, she was standing right by them. Is this the right time for stargazing? Rose asked sarcastically. Yes, it is, he strained. Angel walked to the door, standing behind it, her hands on the knobs, ready. She had to time this perfectly, otherwise she knew Robert would surely die. She couldn't let that happen. She couldn't let Isabel suffer that fate. It was not something she would ever wish on anyone to lose the person you love with all your heart, like she did the doctor. She closed her eyes, focusing, putting the feeling she often got, her intuition, and forcing it to the surface, something she had, admittedly, never truly attempted before. and was praying it would work now. She tried to send it for the doctor when he got fat at the Big Brother show, but that was more her trying to let herself feel as opposed to burying the feelings down. This this was different. This time she was actively trying to force feeling, to force that sensation to the surface. I committed treason for you, she heard Robert say through the door, and now my wife will remember me with honour. She quickly pulled the door open as the man splashed the beast, forcing it back for just a moment. And in that split moment, she pulled him back into the room, slamming the door shut, and yanking the sword out of his hand to shove between the door handles, locking it from within. Get back! She shouted, ushering the stunned Robert further into the room before running to help the doctor and Rose. The Queen lifted her crucifix as the wolf battered against the door. You said this thing doesn't work, Rose yelled as she and Angel struggled on their side to raise the telescope. It doesn't work as a telescope because that's not what it is, the doctor called back, remembering the specks of rainbow that Angel had observed before, the result of sunlight. It's a light chamber. It magnifies the light rays like a weapon. We just got to power it up. But there's no electricity, Rose replied. The doctor just grunted. Rose's eyes widened, realizing. Moonlight. But it needs moonlight. It's made by moonlight. Then how come humans can drown? Angel remarked. You're mostly water. Now come on. They finally started to line up with the moon. A little more. It just aligned when the wolf broke through the door. Light spewed out of the end of the light chamber and onto the floor too far away from the wolf. It turned on the Queen as Robert rushed forward to try and pull her back. The doctor just dove across the floor and threw the core-eyed Gnaw into the light. A brilliant prismatic beam of light hit the wolf, lifting him off the floor and into the air, turning him human once more. Make it brighter, the poor boy pleaded. Let me go. The doctor looked over at Angel, who flipped the same switch on the light chamber she touched before, opening all the chambers around the prism, magnifying the light. With one final house on the wolf form, the creature vanished and the light shut off. Rose breathed a huge sigh of relief, Robert looking as though he wasn't sure he really just survived that, while the Queen stared intently at a wound on her wrist she had received only a moment before Robert had pulled her away. Your Majesty, the doctor stepped up, see her looking at her wrist. Did it bite you? No, it's a cut. She waved him off. That thing bit you. It was a splinter of wood when the door came apart. Let me see. He reached for her hand. The Queen pulled away from him. It is nothing. The doctor and Angel just gave her a look, not believing her at all. Rose, the doctor, and Angel knelt before Queen Victoria the next morning, Robert and Isabel standing on either side of the Queen, watching. By the power invested in me by the Church and the State, I dub thee Sir Doctor of TARDIS. She tapped him on the shoulders with a sword, before moving on to Angel. By the power vested in me by the Church and the State, I dubbed thee Dame Angela of TARDIS. She did the same to Angel before moving to Rose. By the power vested in me by the Church and the State, I dubbed thee Dame Rose of the Power State. She tapped her on the shoulders as well. You may stand. They all stood. Many thanks, Mom. The doctor nodded. Thank you. Angel smiled at her. Thanks, Rose beamed. They're never going to believe this back home. Your Majesty, you said last night about receiving a message from the great beyond, the doctor added. I think your husband cut that diamond to save your life. He's protecting you even now, ma'am, even from beyond the grave. Indeed, she agreed. And you may think on this also, that I am not amused. The doctor groaned while Rose and Angel just high-fived each other. Angel initiating it this time, much to Rose's delight. Yes! Rose exclaimed. Psychic, the doctor marked to Angel. See? She shot back playfully. Not remotely amused, the Queen continued angrily, and henceforth I banish you. I'm sorry? The doctor asked as they looked at her, shocked by the turn of events. I reward you, said Doctor, and your wife, she replied, trying in vain to keep calm. And now you are exiled from this empire, never to return. I don't know what you are, the three of you, or where you're from, but I know that you're You can sort with stars and magic and think it's fun, but your world is steeped in terror and blasphemy, death, and I will not allow it. You will leave these shores and you will reflect, I hope, on how you managed to stray so far from all that is good, and how much longer you will survive this terrible life. She stepped away from them. Now leave my world and never return. As they turned to leave, they cast one last look back at those still standing in the room. Angel caught the eye of Isabel, who could only smile gently at her with tears in her eyes, and now thank you with a quick glance at her husband, who stood on the other side of the Queen, very much alive, she knew, thanks to her. She nodded in reply before turning to leave, with the doctor and Rose a smile on her face as well. They hitched the lift off the back of the farmer's car, hopping off when they neared the TARDIS, still sitting in the middle of the field where they left her. Here's Dougal, the doctor waved to the farmer as they walked away and the farmer continued on. You know, the funny thing is, Queen Victoria did actually suffer a mutation of the blood. It's a historical record, hemophiliac. It used to be called the royal disease, but it's always been a mystery because she didn't inherit it. Her mum didn't have it. Her dad didn't have it. It came from nowhere. What? And you're saying that's a wolf bite? Rose looked at him as he walked arm in arm with Angel. Hemophilia could be a code word, Angel reasoned. For werewolf? Could be, the doctor defended. Queen Victoria's a werewolf. And the former mayor of Cardiff was a Slitheen, Angel remarked matter-of-factly. The doctor laughed at that point before continuing. And her children had the royal disease. Maybe she gave them a quick nip. So the royal family are werewolves, Rose muttered. Well, maybe not yet. I mean, a single wolf cell could take 100 years to mature, Angel answered. He nodded, taking her word for it. So they might be ready by, early 21st century? The doctor had to smile at that, moving to take her hand and kiss the back of it. He loved it when she answered things like that, so confidently. Half the time she didn't even realize how remarkable that was. To her, it was simple time-telling, but not even he was that apt at it, and she did it with such ease. She just had this amazing sense of time. She could guess, right down to the second, how long something would take, or what time it was. Things like that. No idea how she did it. He didn't think it had anything to do with her feelings or being a precog. Not that he could tell, but it was still incredible. Nah, Rose shook her head. It's just ridiculous. But then she paused to consider it. I'm you, Princess Anne. I'll say no more, the doctor grinned. And if you think about it, Rose really began to think now. They're very private. They plan everything in advance. They, they could schedule themselves around the moon. We'd never know. The doctor sniggered as they reached the TARDIS, opening the door for them all to head in. They like hunting. They love blood sports. Angel laughed as the TARDIS began to dematerialize. Oh my god, they're werewolves! That night at the Torchwood estate, the Queen stepped towards her carriage with Robert and Isabel. What will you do? She looked at Robert and his wife. Will you stay here? No. Robert shook his head. After that nightmare, all he wanted was to get his wife as far away from that house as he could. I think we shall sell it. I'd pull this place down, Isabel remarked quietly, still in shock over what had happened, what had nearly happened. Robert had told her of how he really intended to die fighting the beast off, to restore his honor, but then how Angel had pulled him back inside just in time to save him and still keep the wolf at bay. To come that close to losing the man she loved, she'd never been more thankful for anything in her life. She honestly couldn't say what she would do without her husband. The Queen glanced at the sign of Torchwood and sighed grimly. Although we may not speak of these events in public, they will not be forgotten. I promise you that. A terrible nightmare you both endured, the ingenuity of your father, they will live on. But how? Robert frowned. I saw last night that Great Britain has enemies beyond imagination, and we must defend our borders on all sides. I propose an institute to investigate these strange happenings and to fight them. I would call it Torchwood. The Torchwood Institute. And if this doctor or this angel should return, they should beware, because Torchwood will be waiting. Robert and Isabel exchanged a look of distress, Although they had suffered terribly, Angel, and admittedly the doctor as well, had saved their lives. They could only hope that, should the two ever encounter Torchwood, they would be ready. Angel was lying on the grilling of the TARDIS control room as the doctor worked beneath it, just reorganizing some things. Doctor, she began. Yeah? She called. Why did you tell me about your adventures before the war? He popped up from the grilling, looking at her curiously. Why? She rolled on her side to look at him for a moment, reaching out to touch his face lightly. Just tracing it. She was getting used to his new face, and she rather enjoyed being able to touch him. Just a feeling. She smiled, about to pull her hand away when he snatched it and linked their fingers together. I think I'd rather enjoy hearing them. He grinned widely and pulled himself up, dropping the top of the grilling down and lying down beside her, never letting go of her hand, and recounting his most favoured adventures with his dearest companions, not even noticing the sly, knowing smile on her face. And that's the end of chapter 12, and I hope you enjoyed that. So, yeah. But yeah, if you did enjoy it, leave a like, go leave a review, comment, kudos, we're done here. As I said at the beginning, chapter links are in the description below, but if not, it's archived at fanfiction.net that the stories are on. Highly recommend you do that. But before you go, be sure to subscribe. Upload new videos every Friday and Saturday. And I'll see you guys next Friday with a new video.